Hello everyone, welcome to Hippodairy. My name is Lingam. Thank you for watching this video. This is part 4 of the series. We will see how we can bind the view model to the view and make some basic mathematical calculations. See, so far we have seen three things. We have seen how to create a view and then a model and then a view model. So now we need to take it forward to how to bind them together, put them all together in one place. So before doing that, just understand one thing. We are still working inside the helper control. Like we will take this view model and then we will assign it to the user control inside the DLL itself. But this is not how we are going to work in actual project. In actual project, this view model will be changed every time directly from the project itself, but it might not be clear as of now. So just instead of making things complicated, as of now, for this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to directly bind the view model to the control. Once we are ready with everything and we are sure what we are doing, finally we will split them and we will send the view model from the pagination WPF. Like you will understand going forward. So now that being said, we need to bind this to the view model. So I'm going to, there are different ways how we can bind the view model to your view. As of now, let me take the code behind the part. So I know in the video I said it's all about MVVM and but I'm going to use code behind, so don't get angry on me now. This will soon change when we move forward. This is just for testing purpose. So this dot data context is equal to I need a new view model. So in case people who are new to MVVM is nothing but separation of concerns. Like it helps us to separate different concerns like model, view, and view model. So the pure MVVM, like there are people who expect pure MVVM wherein we have nothing in the code behind. Like if you see in the, this is what we call as code behind. If you have been using Windows for me, you know, like you just double click this and then it will be like, you will do something like this, like click, this doesn't have a click, so hyperlink. You will just type something like click and then go to the code behind, and here you will type like what happens when the click event is invoked. But this is not what we do in MVVM. So MVVM is pretty much like avoiding all these things and just putting the views in one place and properties in some place, which is models, and then how they behave in different places. So this is the main idea behind MVVM. So we will not be seeing code behinds here, but as of now, for just for setting this data context, we will use it. So we need something which is helper controls dot view model, because we're going to give the view model which is new view model. This is not view model, VM pagination. So that's it. We have defined the data context of this as new pagination. So we will go back here and then I will say data context is equal to binding. See, I'm new to MVVM as well. I have been using it only for last 3 or 4 years maybe. So if I make any mistake, and there are some people like who are so much expert in MVVM are watching this, please show some mercy. Don't kill me in the comments. Get it? Okay, so we have set the data context of the user control in the code behind, and then I am binding that whatever comes, whatever the data context is, I am binding it to the data context of the grid. Technically, data context of user control is set in the code behind, and we are just it's like a hierarchy. Like user control has the data context, and inside user control we have grid. So the user control's data context we are binding here. So if we are going to bind to something else, which we are going to do, of course, that's for this hyperlink previous, I'm going to bind to a command. Okay, where is hyperlink? It is inside a stack panel, which is inside a grid. So this grid has direct binding from V model. So this VM pagination. So when I say this, inside VM pagination, what do I have? command change page. Let me go back to my control and just say that I'm going to bind a particular command here. That's it, nothing else. So which means that when I click this command previous, it sends or it hits this one, so which is like changing page, which goes here. Let's do the same for same command. Like we are not going to create a new command, this hyperlink. That's it, class. Shall we try now? Try to debug. I made a mistake. Did I? No, I didn't make a mistake. Here we go. We have previous, we have next. So when we click previous, you see it goes here. So what happened? Let me put the settings in different places and then we will see how we can do it. I will put it here and then I will put it here, then we'll see. So this is the step where the pagination is getting initiated. So initiation. So after initiation, the next step what we have is we are going to this data, which is like after we set this up, you see we are getting the change command. So when we try to get the change command, so this is the place where we got the change command. When I click the change command, the hyperlink, it just goes and then it says like, okay, this is done inside change page. But this is like flipper delegate command. We don't have the flipper delegate command. Like this is just a DLL you are referencing. But if you would have had this code inside your project, you would see that how the entire setup is done. But we don't need to complicate things. So we are clear here. When you click this, it goes there. So we are okay with previous and we are okay with next. So what do we do now? Like when this changes, we need to change the property of this or this or this. Like we need to change the other properties, right? First, let us bind the other properties. What are the other properties? Let's go back to pagination and then we will see this one, the number one. What is number one? That is current page. So we need to bind this to something called current page. But do we have current page? No, we don't have current page. So inside VM pagination, which is the user controls main data context, what we have is a property called pagination. So we are going to bind this. Inside this pagination model, what do you have? Current page, which is integer. So dot current page. So what's happening here? You are binding to the user control is bound to the VM pagination, and the grid, which is the next child, which is in the hierarchy, next child is getting or inheriting the complete data context, and this stack panel and everything is inside the grid. So we are directly binding to the, so at this point here what we have is VM pagination, so inside which we have pagination, which is the pagination model, and we are going to bind it. And we are going to use two more properties: notify property changed, notify on source updated, which means that whenever the source is updated, do we need to notify it here? You can do it there. And what is the source trigger? So update source trigger is property change. So whenever property changed, you just update it here. So we have bound the current page, and I'm going to just copy it, and I'm going to go to here, and then what is that? That is total pages, VM page. So this is total pages, okay. And then we have something else, which is this text box. Do we need to change this? No, as of now, no. So display items, we need to change the display item. So where is display item? This is display item. What do we need to change it to? This is going to show us items per page, so obviously we will change it to items per page. Okay, we have set these things up, but to check whether it is working or not, we are going to do something. when we initiate it, we are going to set pagination dot items per page is equal to 25. Pagination dot current page is equal to 10. Pagination dot items per page, current page, total items is equal to 2000. Pagination dot, what do we have here? Current page, total page. Did I say total page? No. Total pages is equal to, how do we set the total pages? See, as of now, this is just arbitrary, so just forget if it is not exact. We're just trying to see whether it is working or not. So we will see. I'm going to remove the breakpoints here and the breakpoint here and even here. Did it update? No, it didn't update. Okay, let's see why. Pagination is here. We have set the current model, items per page, everything is perfect. Why? You see why? It's very obvious. We are putting that inside seed and we are not calling the method seed. How stupid of me. Let me put it inside seed. Using helper control start models and pagination model. P model is equal to new pagination model. And then after you invoke VM pagination, VM, new VM pagination, and VM dot seed. We are seeding the P model, which is pagination model. And since you are seeding it, you don't need to invoke it there. You can cut them all out, and you can come back here. You can set them here. Oh my goodness. There we go. So we have changed it. Now it should be fine. So what we are doing is we are setting up creating a pagination model and then we are setting it, and still this didn't work. Why? Because again I made a mistake as usual. See, whenever we make mistake, we call ourselves as increment working, or as my manager used to say, this is agile method of working. You make mistake and then you come back and change it. There we go. Voila, it works. So page 10, which is your current page, and then you say that total number of pages is 500 and the display items per page is 25. These are all fine, but the math is not correct, so we are going to do the math. So which means that the binding is working so far. What are the items that you need to give? See, you need to tell the total number of items that is required, and you don't need to tell the current page. It always has to be from 1, and you're going to say the total items. You don't even need to say the total pages, because these calculations has to come from inside the view model. So what I'm going to do is, for items per page and total items, I'm going to change or modify my model. So a small modification here. Whenever you start the pagination, you are going to feed in items per page, or how do I say int total items and int items per page. Do we already have it? Let's say total count and page item count. Then we say total count, total items count. Total items is equal to total items count. Oh, bad in typing. Count and items per page is equal to page items count. We have set this to, and whenever you are going to send this to, you need to define the total pages or you need to calculate the total pages. See, there are two things that you can do. Either you can make this calculation in the view model, like whenever you see it, you can make the calculation, or whenever you send them to the model, you can do it. See, basically, you don't put methods inside your model. Model is mainly for having the properties. But since this model is only going to change the internal properties, it's not going to change anything. We are going to use something like initiation method, maybe. Let's call it as initiation, private void initiation. So it's like this is for initiating this particular pagination model. So I'm going to call initiation and say total items count, and I'm going to give page items count. There we go. So after we receive this too, how do we calculate the total number of pages? Let's say total pages is equal to total items which is like the total number of items divided by the items per page. This is going to give us the total page. But there is one more problem in this calculation, but I'm not going to do it now. I will come back at a later stage to solve this. So we will put a comment here, problem to be solved. But what problem? Because I have already done this several times, so I know what is the problem, but we will come back to that later and see how it is going to be done. So current page, we are going to have it as 1. So we will know like what are the total pages based upon this, and current page is going to be 1. That's quite simple. So we have an error. What is the error? Here. So we have total items is 2000 and items per page is 25. And let me stop this. Okay, here we go. You see we have 80 pages which is calculated. So I will run it now with the debugging point and the pagination model to see how it is done. It's in pagination model. Okay, so we have a total item. If you could see in the locals or maybe in the autos, you have the total items which is 2000 and you have items per page which is 25. And then when you calculate it, divided by this is going to be total pages 80. So obviously that's it. There we have. So we made this binding, we made a basic calculation. So we have seen how to create view model, and then we have also seen the basic integration. So now we will take it forward. So we have bound everything here as of now. The next step is to change the properties based upon the user command. So we have the change page here. So when the user says change page, we need to change something. As of now, just ignore the previous page. We are only going to concentrate on the next page. So which means that whenever the change page is invoked, we are going to change the page to next page, which means something like this. So we have the property pagination, which is here, and inside pagination we have some current page. whatever it is, whatever the current page is, we are going to increase it by one value, which means that if it is 1, we are going to make it as 2, and then we are going to make it as 3, and then go forward. Let's do it. And then we will, it's like, as I say, agile development, iterative. So let's see, when we click this here, we need to go back to our VM pagination and hit here. Okay, when I click next, as of now we are not doing anything, so even if we click previous or next, it is going to do the same. So like next, it's just going to get the current page, which is 1, and then it is going to change it to 2. That's it. Let me remove the break part so that you know already. So see, it's 2. So now let me change to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, blah 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 blah. That's it. We have that. But even if you do it for previous, it is going to do the same. But we are not worrying about previous part now. We have a lot of caveats in this, like what happens if the page exceeds the total page. So we need to take care of that first. So what we're going to do is we're going to make some calculations. But how many times do I need to make calculations here? Like instead of doing this, what if I have a class? No, I don't want to make it complicated. So let us start with saying something like variable or integer new page is equal to, let's start the new page with pagination.current page, which means that we are getting the current page first. So get current page, and then we are going to increase this current page by one value, new page plus plus. Then we are going to check if new page is greater than pagination dot total pages, which means that if the new page is more than this, what we need to do is set it as the maximum limit. The moment it goes beyond that, set it as maximum limit, pagination dot total pages. That's it. But to test this, we need to do something else. We have set a huge value, right? So for testing purpose, let us say 10 pages. What is 10? 25 into 5. I'm bad at math, so let us start with 500. Oh wait, I think I remember math. If you multiply it by 10, that is 250. Again, I will have 20, so I don't have to have 20. I will have only 150. Ta-da! See, my math instincts are kicking in. Okay, I have 6 pages. If I go to my breakpoint, I have removed all my breakpoints. So let me go back here and say, but before this, let me try to, this doesn't work. Why? Let's see. Because we are not reassigning the new page. Anyhow, let's say pagination.current page is equal to new page. This is just for testing it. There might be better ways to do this, so I don't know. This is what I do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and beyond 6 it doesn't happen anything. So what happens here? Let us go back and see. When you click next, the new page is 6, and you are increasing it, so new page becomes 7, and then new page is greater than this, so it's done. So it's basically like we are limiting the top value at 6, or whichever is the top page. So that's done. And then we need to do something else, which is how we can check whether we are doing the forward or reverse. See, there is a better way of doing it, which is like using enums and everything. But since I don't want to complicate it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign a parameter to the change page. I'm going to assign a new parameter. So along with command, I'm going to assign the command parameter. The parameter I'm going to say previous. When I say 0, it is previous. like 0 goes back and command parameter 1 goes forward. So let's go back to the VM pagination. So this parameter, whatever you are assigning, is the parameter that you are getting it here, like inside this object. So these are all boilerplate codes which are taken care by the delegate command and the I command. So you don't have to worry about that. All you need to do is just concentrate on your business logic. So let's say integer, which is parameter, is equal to, we are not sure as of now whether the incoming is in integer or string format. So I know that it is going to be in string format. So first cast that object as string and then try to parse it to integer. There we go. So at this step we are getting the parameter which is going to be 1 or 0, and then we are going to convert it as string, and then we are going to again parse it as integer. Maybe this might work or this might not work, we will know shortly. And then I'm going to do a switch class, the parameter. If you are using switch, and then I have case 0 break, spelling mistake. Break case 1 break. So this goes up, then this 2 goes here. 1 is forward, 2 is backward. So when we say backward, we need to remove it, and the logic is also going to change. Basically, what is the lowest number of page, which is going to be 1. So like the lowest or minimum possible page is 1. So if our particular page is less than or goes below 1, then immediately set it as 1. That's it. Which means that whenever the page number goes below 1, it is going to set it as 1. And we are defining it here. Class. Class is an Arabic word which means that finished. Shall we try with previous now? Previous. First we need to see what is the object. Object is 0 and we successfully parsed it. Usually I used to get error there. So the new page is going to be 1 and then the parameter is 0, which means that the new page has to be reduced. So when you change it, the new page, when you minus it, it becomes 0. Like it started from current page, it started from 1 and then it made as 0. If 0 is less than 1, so it's going to be 1. So new page is now 1 and then we have it here. Okay, there we go. Let me remove the breakpoint and run so we can see how it works. It doesn't go back and it goes forward 6. So these two are clearly set. There is no change in this. We are clear. So we have seen these two items, and the next item what we need to see is when user sets this value, we need to take it forward. We will see that in the next module. Thank you so much for watching this video so far. It's time for recap. In this video, we saw how to bind the view model that we have created with the view. It was a very long video. So we first set the data context from the code behind. So there are several ways of doing this. Setting it from the code behind is not a proper MVVM way of doing things, but we are doing it as of now. But in the next video, we will change it and we will remove it from the code behind. And the next thing what we did was inside our view model, we assigned the pagination model with some default values, like we set the total pages and total pages required per total items per page and basic stuffs. And we did some basic math to do all the calculations. And finally, what we did was we tested whether this is working or not with the previous and the next hyperlinks. Just that's it, nothing else. So this is what we saw in this video. In next video, we will start looking into the calculations for the other controls like the button, the text box, and other things. In this one, we saw about hyperlink. In the next one, we will take it forward to other buttons or other controls.